Our next reader, I'm super pleased to introduce, having crossed paths over the years in the city of Surrey, missed on that front, I should say, Taryn Hubbard. This is a debut poetry book, once again, as somebody who's been writing for a really long time and with significance in communities, so it's kind of exciting to see the work manifest on the page. Just to read from the bio. So Taryn Hubbard's poetry, fiction reviews, and interviews have been included in journals such as Canadian Literature or Literature Canadienne, Room, the Capilano Review, Canadian Women's Studies, CV2, Filling Station, and so on. She holds a BA in English and Communications from Simon Fraser University and a certificate in journalism from Langara College. As I say, whip smart on the communication fronts. She currently lives in Maple Ridge with her family, and Desire Path, as I mentioned, is her first book. So let's give it up for Taryn Hubbard, also for the work of Mama Poets, which is an extraordinary labor that we all appreciate. So once again, Taryn Hubbard.
Thank you, Cecily, so much for that warm introduction. I just want to, before I begin reading for you tonight, I just want to say thank you to Talon. This, as Cecily mentioned, this is my first book, and the experience has been just wonderful. From working with Cecily Nicholson herself, I got to work with her, and Katrina Strang, it was great, so thank you. As Cecily mentioned in my intro, this book explores Surrey and different phases of my life, living and working in Surrey. So the first poem I thought I would read is Wayfinding, because if you've ever tried to drive through Surrey, you might think, hey, all these blocks look the same. So Wayfinding. The suburban highway links signs, attention pinches, stuck logos cast in plastic. It's hard to find the idea of here and there from a form that grew only from the idea of car and home. Meet me at the Chevron. Meet me at the 7-Eleven. Meet me where the median divides this road with crosswalk in dash cam, 8-lane spans. Next year, the city will be longer, stretched further into the woods, darkness brightened with high beams. In my old city center or Wally neighborhood, there was a big Canada Post, and they had a mosquito sound outside of it. And if you aren't familiar with what a mosquito is, it's a really high decibel sound that only a certain age group can hear. Now, this is an old poem, so I'm not sure if I can hear it anymore, but I used to be able to hear it. So this poem is called Sounds Only Youth Can Hear. On steps where one might sleep public, alarms chime reminders to go. What a difference an alarm makes at decibels only youth can hear. A reckless buzz every endless day scatters people across the highway even. I can hear the alarm above the traffic, in front of the methadone clinic, across 4 lanes, in high-pitched chirps, away, 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 away. This next poem is called Moon Schedule, inspired by my same neighborhood. It was being revitalized, and so when you're walking through a revitalized neighborhood, you might see old steps from the old houses that aren't there anymore. So I always found that to be quite interesting to see. So this is called Moon Schedule. Cement stairs left over, 4 thick slabs, moss slick welcome, unwelcome visitors to lot. A house removed. Remainder gypsum board chunk, heavy, rain-plunged t-shirts. Do you remember this house? Phantom shingles, my boot stuck in mud, mostly puddle in cigarette butts, hookups left open. That frustrating glassless house flew orange tarp sails before demo. This spot where I'd walk up to your room. Tonight's supermoon smooths what foundations left. To sidewalks cut edge, this property's all dug up, rimmed with stomp, lucky logger, surrendered deposit. In the same kind of vein, near Surrey Skytrain, Surrey City Centre Skytrain, it's a bustling Skytrain. I think it's one of the most busiest bus loops, actually, in Metro Vancouver. So always a lot going on. It was inspired by just some observations that I had constantly walking around there. It's called In the Afternoon. Outside the train station steps hold commuters coming and going. A plaza spray-painted white. Don't touch. For $40, get an unlocked iPhone. $30, a t-shirt with silver flourish. $15, adobo rice, 2-liter Coke. Toonie pizza slice. $30,000, a unit reserved, no PST promo. The bus loop dons title of city center. A schedule of routes tied briefly before unraveling down major arterials. Moments between sidewalks and almost empty lots except the one plastic lawn chair on nest egg easement, an option to turn grass into wider driving. Commuter hearts start like the engine of diesel trucks when field or cross station, free for all-day parking, gets dug up. Update, new pay parking. Stalls for rent, between line drawn, touch, rough cut, iridescent left from a windshield thrown down. The bus is empty, or there is too much of a line, or I saw a fistfight at my stop one time for no reason. Jump fences of the afternoon. Jump triangle stacks of failed asphalt. Kick a rain-soaked curb couch. It's not a real Mayflower. It's a Slurpee cup soaked through. I have a few poems that I want to share that are about being a kid growing up in Surrey. So when I was a kid, I grew up next to a pub, and they built a huge wall, and we didn't have a fence, so it was pretty much all we had. So I wrote this poem as kind of remembering this wall. Can't force a ghost. Warm ghosts are the best ghosts to invite over. I invite them. And together we conjure ambition in a 10-foot-high barrier along the south side of a clay yard, my yard. A family spot where the dog can escape the other 3 sides. It's not a proper fence, it's a wall. No matter. The thing is, the wall is where we weigh our days, where bricks shadow our lives. A barrier to keep out disruptions. The disruptions come anyway. When my neighbor is a suburban neighborhood pub. When Maggie goes running down the street after drinking 4 Long Island iced teas, no dinner, wonder about Long Island, and running, and the voice that shouts through the ghosts milling on the sidewalk, Maggie, I'm so sorry, just come back maybe. Come back, baby, baby shit. Another memory that I was thinking about on the Skytrain here is if we ever went camping or something, my dad would put a butcher knife in the door jamb as an extra layer of security. So I've never heard of anyone doing this before. So this is how we had secured our houses in the 90s in Surrey. So if you have heard of this before and have a memory of it, email me. I'd love to connect. It's called Impossible Superstition. A knife in the door jamb, a house locked shut. I had to wipe my eyes twice when I saw it. For safety reasons, the dolphins bob in my brain and not beside the boat. The sounds from the streets are in my toes, not in my ears. And in late August, the spiders come in to cozy up to us. They want to find a peaceful place to rest, and we let them. Mum in the nursery planting flowers from seed Dad cuts mirror. When the mirror shatters, it's swept together. When a mirror breaks each day, the bad luck penetrates more lifetimes than we could ever count. But I still count them. I count them down. And the last poems I'll read are about becoming a mother. And right now I'm 8.5 months pregnant. And at this point, mine gets a bit fuzzy. So I wrote some poems when I was pregnant with my first kid, when I had the fuzzy kind of brain. They're kind of fun. So this one's called Matter. I try identifying the opportunist versus the bully versus the one who sees an opportunity in everyone they meet. I take the makeup off my cheeks and gently add it to the pile headed to the biofuel plant. A frozen brain is one sign the shadows are doing what they're supposed to. The look of the day was to downplay one's more austere features with expensive bubblegum fill. I didn't think of walking as a way of understanding until I broke a bank of small rocks over my ankles. The direction forward is full-fat yogurt and EV parking. The night he yelled graveyard from the bath, I summoned a personal truth about working non-standard hours. One week it was 3 pounds of apples, the next it was 5, and each one of them I ate off a blade. I watched 2 happy woodpeckers become increasingly disturbed by my presence and thought, of course they would. Of course the application for the bank was lost under a flat of sugar-free pop. As a material collector, I put everything into my bag, even the coupon for a tire rotation for a 4x4 I do not own. Slowly, I learned to cuddle my rage with thoughtfully applied pressure. Psychologically, it was better to scroll the news than seek it out. Still, it could be worse. Still, I could remember to turn the front light on when it's dark enough. And this next poem is called Little Halupshi, and Halupshi is Ukrainian for cabbage rolls, so kind of reminiscing about Ukrainian grandmas. A storm of Matryoshka dolls spills from my hips and onto the floor. We hadn't noticed they'd been waiting there, populating. It was a surprise, even for me, though we didn't speak of it. And now they're dancing on the gleaming green linoleum because we're dancing too. What does this say about how I pay attention to what I'm doing? On afternoons spent peeling back layers of boiled cabbage, my fingers go numb. This is probably because I think things will be easier than they are. When the dolls re-nest, we miss them, the way they didn't talk, just moved. How attached we'd become to something we didn't know we wanted. Something gained, unexpected, and it's with you. It's all so necessary, so quickly. And I'll end my reading with my last poem in the book, and it's a titleless little dispatch. I'll call to tell the rest I'm growing you is beautiful and blooming. On the busted spokes of the shopping cart I untangled from the blackberry bush overtaking the ditch. Thank you.